Thank you for being here with us today on this Facebook Live. We are so excited to share some incredible things that have really changed our lives, and I appreciate that you're all here. If you have any questions, please write them in. We can't see your questions, so we can't comment on them till after. This is streaming on several services. So anyways, thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy evening. My name's Monica. I am a wellness coach. I've been doing it for over 25 years, teaching people how to eat right, exercise, all those things. But there was always something missing in what I was helping people with. It wasn't because it wasn't working. It worked for a little while, but people couldn't really maintain it and always fall back to their old habits. And a few years ago, I found something incredible that's changed my life and everybody here on this screen today here. So we have some incredible guests. We're going to share with you tonight that it's not your fault that you may be struggling with losing weight with those love handles or other conditions that you may have metabolically with your health. We found something a few years ago for myself. It's been like 4 years now that turned everything around, and it's related to insulin resistance. And once I addressed that problem, that situation, everything changed. I've been now free of dieting and counting calories for 4 years. It's food freedom. And we feel inclined that we need to share this with the world because this is something that is not our fault. You know, the food environment's changed, everything's modified, processed. You know, it's just an endless battle nowadays from not what it was used to be when my parents or grandparents were around. So we have some incredible guests here today. We got Vicky from Montana. Shannon, you're in Montana as well, right? Then we got John from Colorado. I'm from Colorado. And we're going to be sharing what this protocol is tonight, how you can reverse your insulin resistance and get a handle back on your metabolic health without doing drugs, without injections, doing it naturally that is totally safe. And it's changing the world. So we've right now got over 1 million people on this protocol, over 1 million around the world. And we need to get this message out. So that's why we're here tonight. So thank you for joining us. Anyways, I'm going to start with my journey because I've been said my entire life and oh well, a lot of years, my entire adult life. But I had run into a situation when my mom got diagnosed. First of all, she had type 2 diabetes. She started getting, she had the shingles, she had skin issues with psoriasis, and then she was diagnosed with a type 2 or type 4 colon cancer, and that was devastating. And I've been very physically active all my whole life, although I've dieted my entire life. And it changed everything for me. I started struggling myself, even though I was teaching people otherwise. So let me share my screen here real quick. I want to show you my mom. And my mom was my hero. She got very sick and it was very devastating for me. This is her and me together. And you know, she was, like I said, my hero, but she was really someone that I really looked up to in many ways. And she had, when she got sick, it devastated me and it took a toll on me. And I really, really wish I would have known back then what I know now because she possibly could still be with us. But she ended up, of course, succumbing to cancer. And I lost my mom to that. But this is what it caused to me. I blew up. I had never, I mean, I've been dieting my whole life, but I'd never ever gotten this big. And I had tried many, I was not happy with how I looked. I was very frustrated. And I'm really thankful. This is 4 years ago. A good friend of mine called me, who was also a coach, had been in the wellness space, and he mentioned to me that I'm probably insulin resistant. And I had no idea what insulin resistance was, but it really affected me. And protocol we're going to share with you tonight, just in a little bit, is two tools that we can use to get rid of the hangry noises, the food noise in our heads, and put back in our body what we need. Anyways, my friend shared this with me, and in just 90 days, by making this small change in my life, I was able to go from looking like this, and you can see I'm running in this picture. This was Niagara Falls. I was running a marathon, and look how poofy I was. Look at the inflammation in my face. Anyways, 90 days later, by applying what we're going to teach you today here, I went from looking like this to this. 25 pounds down. I was able to get 4 dress sizes down. I was able to get off my thyroid medication and my hormone replacement. And since then, I've been, I should say, I don't have to worry about it anymore with food. I have food freedom. But just before we go any further and before we address what insulin resistance is, I'd like to introduce this gal here, Shannon. Unmute yourself and share a little bit about what's happened with you since you've gotten on this protocol, because it's really absolutely remarkable. It's been an inspiration. I heard this a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Oh my goodness, Shannon, you need to share this with the world." So,
Huh.
Shannon, where
Well,
are you from?
I am from Great Falls, Montana, and our house is still standing if you haven't heard about our high winds yesterday. So, but I started January 2nd. My very, very dear friend, uh, she started on this protocol a while ago, and she was just telling me how great she feels. She kind of got out of her rut. And she really wanted me to get started, mostly because I had an open wound on my leg for 4 years and it just would not heal. And so she showed me a picture of this gentleman where his leg was healed after being on protocol for a while. And uh, let's see, was it just 2 months that that wound was healed over?
Did the
So,
doctors ever tell you what caused this? Did they like?
well, it just started from a scratch. My skin is very, very thin. Then it got an infection. Then it was almost healed over, just would not get healed. And they thought if they just drilled a hole through this calcium that I had growth in there, that that would work. And then that top right picture there is what happened after surgery. In fact, it even got worse than that. It was
That's
down to the bone.
I should have warned everybody. This is like a very graphic picture, but
Yeah.
that must have been very painful as well.
Oh, I was in extreme pain all the time, all the time. And then the bottom picture there is, like I said, just a couple months after, I don't even think it was 2 months, maybe a couple weeks, 3 weeks, um, that finally last bit of it healed over. Skin finally grew over that. And I mean, they tried skin grafts, they've tried, I mean, just everything imaginable on it. And um, it was just due to insulin resistance that, like you had said, I never heard about it before. And about maybe a year ago, I was diagnosed as uh, type 2 diabetic. And my A1C was 7. Then with dieting and stuff, it went down to 6.3, and then it just wouldn't budge. So in December, before I started protocol, it was 6.3. And then March 2nd, it was 4.9.
My goodness. So,
So
okay. Yeah. So you
incredible
said you
drop.
didn't, it is incredible. And you said you didn't know what insulin resistance is. I think a lot of us don't. I did not either. And I'm sharing this screen here to show different things that are related to insulin resistance because most of us don't know. We think sometimes it's aging. We think it's just, something that happens that because our parents had it or it runs in the family, but insulin resistance is related to many different things that cause it. Actually, if you look at some of these signs, if you don't know what it is, when I first saw this, I said, oh my goodness, I can identify with at least 5 of these. brain fog, dark skin folds, skin tags, all these things. And did a doctor ever talk to you about what insulin resistance was?
No, no.
So how did you find out? Was it through Kara sharing this protocol with you?
Yeah, yeah, it was through Kara, yeah. So,
Interesting.
and I see on your chart there, cancer. I had breast cancer in 2019. So, I mean, I've kind of been through the mill, and no one's ever talked to me about insulin resistance before. And Kara really got on it, or wanted me to get on it, like I said, mostly for my wound to heal.
Mhm.
And then she just kept saying how great she felt. She felt wonderful. She had so much energy. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, I want some of that
I
too.
want some of that.
Yeah. So, um,
Well, tell us about these other
and
pictures because you've lost
yeah,
some weight, it looks like. I mean, your face looks different.
yes, it looks totally different. And, you know, at first I dropped in the first week I dropped 11 pounds. And then the scale kind of stood still for a while, and then it moved a little bit, and then it was standing still. But just this past week, since I've talked to you last, I've lost another 7 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. But the inches are just really coming off. So like I said last week, I mostly got on it just for healing, and then also to feel good. And the bonus is the losing the weight and losing the inches.
It's
So,
totally inspirational, incredible. I am so excited for you. I am so excited to share this with the world. And you said something, we did a podcast a week ago or so, and you said something about even sometimes you see yourself as the big girl still in the room.
yes,
That really, really affected me because when you start changing your health and you start looking different, you don't see it right away.
right.
And you know, other people could notice it. Plus, you said you can cross your legs. We take
Yeah,
some of these things for granted. I remember Vicky and I were talking about that after it brought tears to my eyes because we sometimes take things, little things that really matter for granted, and you are changing um, your health here and coming back
yes.
to the energized and everything. Thank you so much. And don't leave because we're going to probably have more discussions about the protocol and how you're using it because I'd like to share that with everybody. So
Okay.
thank you. That's awesome. So don't go away.
I won't. I'll be here.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here a little bit, and we're going to talk about um, what causes insulin resistance. And this is something that was really, I didn't know because when I was learning how to coach, I was taught that, eat 3 square meals a day. And because I was so active, I'm a runner. I was told also to snack to keep your metabolism up. Well, here's what happens when we do that. When first thing we do, we get up in the morning, we have what? Now, all the cereal companies, all they have promoted is for us to have breakfast. First thing in the morning, how important breakfast is. And usually when we have breakfast, guess what we do? We don't eat the most healthiest things. We eat cereal, we eat pancakes, we eat all this kind of stuff. Immediately, what happens if you look at this here, we have an insulin spike, and the other line, the blue line, is a glucose spike. What do we have after with our breakfast usually? We have a cup of coffee. And do we pour creamer in it? We don't just put a tablespoon in, we pour it in. We all do that. We're guilty of that. I know because that's what I did. So we do that. Our insulin's still up, our glucose is up. Then we get hungry because we have a crash. We start snacking. Then soon enough, it's lunchtime. And what do we have? The Great American Diet, our processed foods. Then in the afternoon, guess what? We have another snack. And a lot of times it's easy to do because we have snacks all around us. I mean, go to the grocery store when you walk in, what do you see when you check out? All these snacks. And then pretty soon it's dinner time. Well, the truth of the matter is when our insulin and our glucose is constantly elevated, and it can't come down. Your insulin is constantly fighting to come back down. What happens is we become insulin resistant. And this is what causes, it's a core problem that causes all these symptoms that we were talking about that you saw on that screen. And what we're going to talk about today is to help you not get into the cycle, to make a bridge between those things, is to do something to reduce our meal frequency, not snack and eat all the time. And there's actually, you guys really need to get this book. It's called The Diabetes Code by Dr. Jason Fung. He did a study at the University of Toronto um, with type 2 diabetics. And just by reducing meal frequency, he had them off all their medications within 3 to 6 months. Okay. Nothing else, just doing that. Then the other thing we're going to talk about today is fiber. Fiber has been removed from all our foods. There's not enough in it. I mean, everything is so processed and fiber doesn't taste great. So most, the companies have taken it out. But fiber is so crucial for our health. The benefits of fiber, especially if you're insulin resistant or pre-diabetic, it helps control your blood sugar. Fiber can't be digested, so it moves slowly through your stomach, your intestines. And it also helps with digestive health because it cleans out it scrubs your digestive system, your digestive tract. The other thing it helps is with obesity and other things like IBS, gut. We have two brains, I always say. We have one in the gut and one in our head. They're connected. If our stomach health is not good, our brain health is not good either. So, and then of course, obesity. Because the fiber's been removed, we're constantly hungry. There's this hangry thing going on. And when we have fiber back in, put it back in our lives, it can help. It keeps us satiated so we can't eat as much. So this is really important. I mean, if you look at our foods, this is, healthy rice. We remove all the bran, and we eat this delicious white rice. We all do that. That's what we've been sold to do. Our bread's the same thing. The wheat, all the bran fiber's been removed, and we end up eating like the Twinkies and the white bread and all these processed breads. There's nothing in it that makes us feel good. We can't get satiated. We're constantly hungry. Then we have well, apple juice, our sugar. In nature, our whoever who created us, whatever you believe in, put everything in proper balance. And all our fruits and vegetables are surrounded. The center is like has glucose, and then the outside is surrounded by fiber. But we remove that, especially when we drink juices. This is like drinking pure sugar. And I'm guilty of that. I used to send my kids to school in the morning drinking orange juice or apple juice. Well, think about this for a minute. How many apples does it take to make this glass of apple juice? Probably 4, 5, 6 apples. And how many apples could we eat before we'd be full? Just saying. So this is not your fault. Keep that in mind as we're going through this. Even sugar in sugar cane, sugar itself in nature is coated by fiber. We've removed all those things. And this is so it's constantly eating, constantly snacking, and having all the fiber removed. And the protocol we're going to teach about you tonight is going to put that back into your life very simply, that without two tools that you can use that it's going to help with. And this is what happens when we don't have this. This is a graphic that I need to show you. It's not the little fat we have around our waist that's dangerous, that, jiggles when we walk. We all have that. It's this fat. It's the subcutaneous fat is what's in front. That's not dangerous. We can control that. It's that visceral fat behind the abdominal muscle. It's choking all our organs. And you have to think about that for a minute. You see people walking around like this, and we think if it's a woman, we think they might be pregnant. We know that men aren't pregnant when they look like that. And this is an unhealthy heart with the visceral fat around it, and this is a healthy heart. Can you imagine all your organs being surrounded by that fat? It's killing us. So the decline from not having fiber and having our blood sugar high all the time from eating and snacking all the time has also caused mental decline in ourself. And of course, we talked about this earlier. are modified foods. It's it's around all of us. Our big pharma's not on our side, giving us more and more medications. It's like, Shannon was talking about that. No one ever told her what insulin resistance was. We're not readily told about it to get to the root cause of what's causing it. And this has become a $3.3 trillion industry with the food. There's 11 companies that control our entire food environment. So change that and get back to what we need. And, out of the top 10 health related diseases that's killing everybody, heart disease being number one, 9 out of 10 of these are lifestyle related and preventable. Think about that for a minute. If we only were taught these things and learned about them, things could be different. And this is our competition. Big Pharma puts us on statins, gives us metformin, Ozempic. We have surgery. I don't even consider this a competition. This is something that we can totally avoid. And that's what we're going to teach you tonight. So let me stop sharing for a minute here. And Vicki, I'm going to unmute yourself there for a minute. I'm going to bring you on because I would love for you to share a little bit about maybe about your story. But before we get into that, let's talk about gap that we're going to talk about changing from where you are now, from where all of us were to reaching our health goals. We're going to talk about fiber. I'm going to share my screen again. There we go. We'll start with this here.
Yeah, so let's talk about fiber. So back in the day, Rexall drug had this product called Bios Life in their store, and they used it all the time. And Bios Life was a fiber. Well, that fiber is now the original formula of what we now call balance. And that's that's the product we use. They have upgraded it a little bit better than what it used to be back in the day. And so the product that we have now, we call balance, is fiber for our bodies. Our fiber is 7 soluble and insoluble fibers. It's a proprietary matrix of those, and it helps with satiety, slows down the digestion of carbs, and it helps our blood glucose, insulin, and cholesterol and triglyceride levels. And what it does, you're going to drink it 10 to 15 minutes before your largest meal. I personally am now drinking it twice a day. I'm even drinking it before my meal at noon if I decide to have one at noon. And what it does is coats your food in your stomach. So it gets in your stomach, and you want to take it 10 to 15 minutes before just to make sure it has plenty of time to get in there and do its job. And the viscosity of it gets really thick like a gel. And so like I said, you're going to mix it up with about 6 to 8 ounces of water, and you're going to chug it. And you want to get that down, take a little bit more water and wash it down. It also is going to help with your cholesterol levels. It's going to help absorb that cholesterol so it doesn't get into our bloodstream. It's kind of like what we call now, you've heard of metformin. Well, this is our own natural type of what we call our fiber, is now what is similar to what metformin does. In fact, it does better. And why I say that is because our product Balance and our other product that Monica will talk about are both listed in the physician's desk reference.
I'll go here for you.
Okay, and it's listed in there, and those are the same places that doctors go to look up drugs. And so our products are not pharmaceuticals, they're nutraceuticals. So that's pretty cool to see that we have products that we are using, sharing with the world, that is helping people lower their cholesterol, lower their triglycerides, and do so many things. I can honestly say that as my own personal testimony. I just recently had labs done last week, and my labs have all improved to the point that my doctor said, keep doing what you're doing. This is the best your labs have ever looked. Monica is going to talk to you a little bit more about the studies that have been published with this. And Monica, I'll let you talk about those, and then we can come back and talk some more about the balance if you want.
Sounds great. You were mentioning about the clinical studies, and it's in the physician's desk reference. This is huge. The PDR.net is what doctors go to because they can look up every single drug they prescribe you and see all the side effects and what they should do. The only reason we're so fortunate to be in the physician's desk reference because we have over 30 clinical studies that validate um, what this fiber does. So that's why it allows us to be in that physician's desk reference. So it's really awesome. I took this to my doctor right away. The other, the Cleveland Clinic, which most of you know, it's known worldwide as the #1 heart hospital. They also did a study because they were looking for something that could get people off statin drugs because there's so many of them, people getting on them. And that was Unicity's original goal back when 30 years ago when they introduced the BIOS Life before it was called Balance. They were looking at the University of Santa Barbara for a way to get people off statins. So it's been a problem that's been going on for years. The other place I did a study on this is the University of Sydney. They're the, how should I say, the glycemic index. They invented it. And they did a study and they showed that if you take this before you eat, it's going to drop your blood sugar spike by 43%, which is humongous. So these are some of the studies that we've done. And do you want to take this over from here, Vicki?
Yes, so when we eat, and if we can eat the foods with loaded with carbohydrates, the pastas, the breads, all those yummy things that we like. I never realized anything about that in the past. I'm one of those bakers that always would make homemade cinnamon rolls and homemade goodies. So never thinking that it was spiking my insulin, never knew about that stuff. So what that's doing is that those carbs, our insulin levels are just staying spiked up really high. Well, what our balance does, you're going to take that balance before that meal and it's going to take and, like I said, absorb around that food, and your blood glucose levels are going to stay more level, as you can see in that picture, versus having it stay spiked and high all the time. So the balance is really key, and making sure, and people wonder, why do I have to take it? Well, that's why, to keep those insulin or those glucose levels in touch with where they need to be, so they're balanced, and so you're not having those insulin spikes.
Yeah, and you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that because when we're up here and we have this spike in that picture before, when we
Mm-hmm.
have that crash, and we've all experienced it, where you just want to lay on the couch and crash,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then the munchies kick in, it's
Mm-hmm.
because our insulin is elevated as well. So whoops, this prevents that from happening. And do you want me to talk about this study, Vicki?
Sure, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So this is a wonderful study because this is how a lot of us start our meals, our breakfast, and especially our kids in the mornings. So they did this study. They fed people 2 Eggo waffles, 2 tablespoons of syrup, 10 ounces of orange juice. Just looking at that, I go, oh, that's like a major sugar spike, right? So it has 420 calories. There's only 1 gram of dietary fiber, 51 grams of sugar, and 89 grams of carbohydrates. That's absolutely horrible. So what they did is they fed this to people. One of them took the fiber and the other did not. And you can see here this insulin spike level up here. And then the people that took the fiber, the balance before they ate it, they had a 43% less glucose response. So I'm thinking, what this is like a carb blocker. Why would you not take it, right? So this just taken before, like Vicki said, does the job.
Yes, it does. It curbs your appetite between meals. And it's, like I said, supports your normal healthy blood glucose levels. And who doesn't want that, right? And another
Exactly.
thing with your weight management, it helps with your weight management. This protocol is not about weight loss. It's about our metabolic health. And so the study right there that Monica was talking about with the Cleveland Clinic, right there, it states in there that this product, if taken regular, could reduce your cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid lowering prescription drugs. Well, there you go. That's your statins. My husband would not take statins because he did at one time, and he stopped them because it was damaging his muscles and he could tell the difference. So he quit taking them. He told his doctors, put it on my chart as I'm allergic to it, because I refused to ever take him again. So I wish I would have known about this protocol back in the day. There's so many things that I could have helped others with earlier on that I didn't know about. So this is huge.
Well, while we're talking about this, Vicky, why don't you share with everybody what's kind of happened to you before we get into the our fasting drink?
Not fasting drink. I can do that, Monica, and thank you. So yes, at the beginning of 2025, I was really struggling with my weight. In fact, I'd been struggling with my weight off and on for years. I mean, I would lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. And I mean, there was a time in my life where everything was cool and I thought it was great, but then I thought, oh, when I was in my 40s, I thought these women would say they would gain weight, but I just said, oh, no, that never happens. Well, yes, it does because you hit menopause. And so, like I said, I was really struggling. I was in a place where I didn't really care what was going on. I didn't know what my purpose was and what I was going to go with this because the picture of me in that blue dress was 10 months after losing my husband in a motorcycle accident. Devastating. And I just had lost my mom 10 months prior to that. So my two besties gone in 10 months. And it was horrible. And like I said, I bloomed up worse than I'd ever been. I don't think I'd ever been as heavy as I was in that picture. So sorry.
Oh, it's Vicky,
Okay,
that's so
I'm good.
emotional.
So anyhow, I went ahead and I thought, okay, I got to do something. So, my son was getting married in December of 24, and I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I do? So I thought, okay, I'm going to try tirzepatide. Well, tirzepatide is it's not a semaglutide, but it's similar to one. It's a shot. Did it for 3 months and I lost some weight, just, a little bit, not a lot. And went off of that. And then I went on to another natural GLP-1 thing that's supposed to help with GLP-1. Well, it didn't help me. And all that did was make matters just kind of stagnant. I mean, I got lost enough that I could go to my son's wedding and feel okay, but I still wasn't good. And in April of 25, how time flies, April of 25, a friend of mine had posted on Facebook a picture of her losing weight. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, wow, I wonder what she's doing. Because I was just desperate. And I just, like I said, all I want to do is take a nap. I didn't feel good, I'd just take a nap and depressed, etc. And so I reached out and she got me between her and then she reached out to Monica and got me on the call with Monica. And Monica shared the story of what this protocol is. I said, I need it in my body. I want it now. I started on the protocol in April, end of April of 24 or excuse me, of 25. It was April 24th of 25 is when I actually started on the protocol. And the company had an A1C study that I did that they were offering. And I participated in that. And at that time, my A1C, for some reason, in January was 5.3. And when I started on this study, it was 5.8. So I don't know if there was a glitch or
Wow.
what, if maybe that's because of life, right?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I started on it. My A1C went from 5.8 to 5.3 in 90 days. And I had saw results happening in my own body, started seeing my clothes were getting looser. I was losing weight, but I wouldn't share my story because I wanted to see for sure if this was really working. So after my 90 days, the picture in the black was a year before on my birthday of July of 24. And you can see in that picture, and that's when had just started on the tirzepatide and I was down some, but still look all the inflammation in my face. The
Yeah, you
picture
can
of
see it.
me, the picture of me in the navy blue with the white pants was in November of 25 on the cruise that I had earned for this company after sharing this protocol, after I decided to share the protocol with people in August after I had my results. And at the time after my 90 days, I was down 16 pounds and 9.5 inches. I had energy that I had never had in years. And now I have my life back again and I have a purpose. And now, like I said, I'm down 29 pounds, 30 pounds. And like I said, I just had my labs done last week. And my triglycerides from January 25 till March of this year went from 98 down to 44, which I was super excited. My HDL went from 62 to 63, which is my good cholesterol. My insulin resistant ratio which I never even had a clue what that was, went from 1.5 to zero point 0.7. My A1C is now down to 5, but my fasting insulin, which doctors don't, you have to ask for it. Your doctors
Yep.
won't just test it. You have to ask for it. I had that tested in August after when I first went to my nurse practitioner then, and I said to her, here's my labs and what are you doing? And I told her, and she's, then too, she said, and then when I went back again now, I had told her, I said, I want fasting insulin. So then I was able to have it again. So from August to March, my fasting insulin level went from 5.4 to 4.9. So she said, Vicki, keep doing what you're doing. She said, this is the best you've looked and the best your labs have ever looked. So I have never felt so good, and I'm on a mission to share it with the world because I know there's hope again and there's people that need to know about this.
Exactly. You're hitting it right home, both of you, with your stories, that this needs to be heard. And I can see how you look. I mean, I met you in person now a couple times. You look fantastic, and I can't wait to meet you, Shannon, hopefully in person sometime when I come up there to the Great White North. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing, and don't go away because I'm gonna come back and ask a couple questions. But then, so we talked about the fiber, and this comes in these little cute little packets. All you do is mix it with 4 to 6 ounces of water before you eat. Okay. Let's talk about the next part of this, which is comes also in a little packet. It's called Unimate. This makes fasting easier. And you guys hang tight. We've got one more story here coming on that's gonna, it's very emotional for me as well, because it's my husband. So, anyways, let's talk about this first, then we'll bring John on. But this makes fasting, I mean, who's all fasted before and you're hungry, you're hangry, you've got all these things going on, and you've got the munchies, you get headaches, whatever it may be. With this here, this is not going to happen. This is going to make fasting easier. Remember, we talked before about Dr. Jason Fung talking about reduced meal frequency? We need to give our body a break from eating. It's the only way it can get into a place where it's called autophagy, where all your cells can replenish themselves. Our ancestors didn't eat 3 square meals a day and they were hunters and gatherers, and they didn't snack all day long either. So they didn't have this problem. This is something that's developed over the years because of the food industry, because of the cereals, because of all that. Everybody's trying to make money. But if you've been fasting before and you've had a hard time doing it, this is going to make it really easy. Um, this one, and most of you know, we talked about earlier the Ozempic and the solutions doctors give us. Well, there is a hormone, just like insulin is a hormone in our body. The other hormone is called GLP-1. Our body already produces it naturally. And I'm going to flip over here before I go into this Unimati a little bit more. It's a hormone. It's our master switch. It controls our overall metabolism. We already produce this GLP-1 in our stomach. And the only reason it's not functioning properly is because of our food environment and other things going on in our lives. Well, it helps regulate our appetites, controls cravings, and enhances our metabolism. Well, because it's not functioning properly, now doctors and everybody's getting on these GLP-1 shots and everything. This here, this Unimate, is going to help your body naturally increases GLP-1 by 67%. This is huge. When I learned this, I said, why would anybody want to get on shots? And this is why we're talking about this. This is natural. There's no side effects. It's also in the physician's desk reference. There's been tons of studies done on this here. The benefits, it helps you to support well-being. It helps with your cognitive health. You think better. It helps with endurance. So if you're physically active or you're an athlete or you work out, it's going to help you with your performance. It promotes satiety, just like the balance does. So the two combined work phenomenal. So it's going to help with your weight management. And it also helps increase your ketone production. So you can see by the 67%, I'm just going to tell you right now, those GLP-1 shots, they have a lot of side effects, like you lose bone mass and so forth, but they only increase your GLP-1 by maybe 12%. Why would anybody want to use something that's not natural when this can do it 67%? So this is really, really important for me to bring up. So what it does is when you sip on it twice a day in the morning, we're going to not have breakfast. We're going to incorporate reduced meal frequency. So instead of having breakfast first thing in the morning, you're going to mix up this Unimate with water, fill it up to top 16 ounces of water, and just sip on it. You can drink it hot or cold, and it's going to get rid of all the food noise. I mean, I'm a snacker. It's gotten rid of the snacking food noise for me. At lunchtime, break your fast. That's what breakfast stands for, breaking fast, in my opinion. Anyways, you break your fast and eat some good protein and eat some good fats. It's really important, especially as we age, to have that because that will also prevent your blood sugar from spiking. After lunch, make yourself another Unimate, mix it up, drink it hot or cold, sip on it, and then it's going to get rid of the food noise and no snacking. It's going to make it easy so you don't have to snack. And then at dinner time, just like Vicky was talking about, you just mix up this fiber before you eat, chug it like a beer, and then eat normal. There is no dieting or counting calories involved with this. So this is the solution we're talking about. Now it's got over 30 clinical studies. And if you have HSA or FSA, it's qualified for that. So you can pay for it with that. It's a nutraceutical, not a pharmaceutical. It's natural. Anybody can use it. We have 9-year-olds that already have fatty liver disease, not from drinking. It's the food, are using this protocol with incredible results. It's now also available in 63 countries and it's patented. No one can copy this. The fiber has 4 patents on it and the Unimate has 1 patent on it. And it works out to about $5 a day. It comes in a box like this, like the picture. Okay. So let me stop sharing my screen for a minute here. So it comes in a box like this here. There's a QR scan. You get a free app on your phone to help you with your fasting window. You get a bottle, shaker bottle, and you get 2 boxes of the Unimate and 1 box of the fiber. And it works out to $159, and it's like $5 a day. That's less than a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks. Just saying. So that is our protocol, and it's very simple. And before we go further, though, I want to introduce now this sweet man that's sitting there, John. He happens to be my husband, but he's been through quite an incredible year, a year and a half, I guess now. No, a year and a few months, since beginning of 2025. So without further ado, let me introduce you to John so he can share his story. Go ahead, John.
Well, thanks, Monica. Hi, everyone. Like Vicky and Shannon, I mean, I've struggled with weight ever since I was a kid. I grew up in an alcoholic family. My way to cope with that environment was to eat. So I became morbidly obese by the time I was in high school, all the way through grade school. And so it's been up and down, more down than up. Well, the weight, I guess, has always stayed up high. But fast forward to the beginning of 2025, Monica and I were enjoying a holiday down in Costa Rica, and I took a hard fall on a wet surface. I fell hard, pretty much pulverized my right femur, and I had to have emergency surgery in Costa Rica. Thank goodness, Costa Rica has a good healthcare system. They did a great job, but I was immobilized. I came back in January of 2025 in a wheelchair, and I could not move. And I was really in a dark spot mentally as well as physically. And I continued to cope with my condition in less than optimal ways by continuing to eat and drink. I told myself as a young man, I didn't want to follow my father's footsteps in dealing with alcohol and alcoholism. But over the course of my adult life, I fell into that, and I did become an alcoholic. And so by April of 2025, I had a big decision to make because I was really spiraling out of control. both mentally and physically. Monica, if you want to share that picture of me, if you have it handy. But lo and behold, Vicki and I both start in April of 2025. But the pictures that you're going to see here in January, you can see me getting on a plane from San Jose, Costa Rica, heading home in a wheelchair. I ballooned by April 25. I was 35 pounds heavier than you see me now. And I was totally immobile, totally depressed, and totally pre-diabetic and just suffering greatly. At that time, I really did not know what else was in store for me in terms of continuing health challenges. But as a young kid, or in high school, I was diagnosed with a heart murmur where I had a condition called subaortic stenosis. So I've had a heart condition all of my life. And thank goodness I was able to turn my metabolic health around using this protocol starting in April. I took that picture there, and I was just at this massive inflection point where I knew that I had to move forward or continue to really decline fast. And so I saw what others were doing with this protocol. I saw what Monica was doing with her clients. And I just said, I have to try this in earnest because I see it working so greatly for other people. And I got on the protocol in April, and by October, I was down like 25 pounds. And I could not exercise. It's a very simple protocol, as Monica outlined. Does not require a lot of sweat equity, anything like that. Because again, I was bound to a chair, but I was able to get myself into good shape, good enough shape by October that you saw there. And I was able to get back up into the mountains, which I so dearly love. And at that time, in November of 2025, regular cardiology visit it got echocardiogram, and my cardiologist had been noticing a change in my heart function. And lo and behold, he suggested I get it looked at closer. I did a heart catheterization in January of this year, and it showed that my aortic valve was due to be replaced. It had stiffened up. It's called stenosis. It's a stiffening. Plus, my aortic valve was a bicusp instead of a tricusp. But the bottom of it is just like, wow, I needed open heart surgery. And that I didn't see that one coming. And I was so happy that I was able to say, let's move forward, because I would have never been a candidate back in April for this surgery that I went through. And that was me 2 weeks ago. I had the surgery done 2 weeks ago today. And that's me in the hospital. And the protocol helped me. Again, I had no idea I was going to need this, but it was a good thing I was able to get my metabolic health in shape for it. Now I'm down over 30 pounds since April 2025. Instead of being a pre-diabetic, my A1C went from 5.7 to 5.3. Fasting insulin. I want to harp on this a little bit because Vicki brought it up as well. Most of your doctors aren't going to tell you about fasting insulin, and it's one of the most critical metabolic markers you can get tested to basically address overall insulin sensitivity in your body. My fasting insulin's at 3. To be at a good fasting insulin, you better be below 6. So when you go to your doctor for your lipid panel, highly recommend you ask, excuse me, for fasting insulin. And that's my journey. It's been, again, the open heart surgery I didn't see coming, but I told my heart surgeon by the end of the summer, I want to be back up in the high country. He said, do it. You're clear to go. So I'm on the healing journey. I've had a few hiccups along the way, but I am so very fortunate that I was able to get my metabolic health in order for what I did not see coming last 2 weeks ago. And I'm on the road to recovery and healing. So I'm very grateful.
And your recovery has been amazing. I cannot believe that you had the heart surgery, and by 2 days later, he was walking around the hospital. I mean, I'm going, this is like amazing. And it's because you really have looked after yourself for since April of last year and to be in this position right now. So I'm very grateful.
I'll say one other thing for our audience that was a big game changer for me and that this protocol helped me with, and that was with my alcohol. I've been alcohol free now for 11 months, and there's no looking back for this man. There's no looking back. I lied to myself for years thinking that I could handle my alcohol, that I needed it to have fun, enjoy company. And I'll tell you what, the Unimate, which I guess I should fill my bottle. I've been sipping it all
I'm out too,
afternoon.
look.
But it does, it's for real when the the, uh, the the discussion around curbing sugar, curbing sweets, curbing food, it stands. I mean, the sugar cravings, the alcohol cravings, it definitely. I went cold turkey. I just quit that night in April where you saw me taking that picture. I haven't had a drink since. So, and that was April 10th, 2025.
Good for you.
I'm very proud
Proud
of
of you,
you.
John. Proud of
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. The best is yet to come.
That's right.
Anyways, thanks, John. Before we wrap this up, though, I want to go back to Shannon, if you can unmute yourself and just real quickly tell us what your day looks like using these two tools,
Oh,
how you start
okay.
your day.
Okay. Um, well, I get up really early because I have two dogs that want to go out. But I usually do start my day with a coffee, but it's black, nothing in it.
Mhm.
And then 10 o'clock, that's always been my time to, before I was always snacking or something. And so that's when I have my Unimate. And then a couple hours later, or three, I have a light lunch. And then I drink my balance before dinner. And my munching time has always been at night. I mean, 9 o'clock at night, I could eat for 3 hours and read for 3 hours. And so that's when I have my other Unimate is during that time. Um, they came out with that new one, chocolate mint, and I drink it warm. And that one doesn't have caffeine in it, so that's the one I choose to have at night. Sometimes I still like my lemon one at night, but just to change things up a bit. But I try to fast very minimum 12 hours. I usually go 13, 14. Um, Now, my husband and I was traveling to Spokane a couple weeks ago, and we went 21 hours.
Wow, good for you.
So, yeah, and it was great. So, my husband's on protocol now,
I was just
and
gonna say your hubby got started too.
yes, yes. Because I think he saw how he goes, man, you just have more energy. He goes, you're just kind of a different person, and he goes, I think I need to get on that. And I'm like, I
He
think
needs to
you
get on
need
the
to
wagon
too.
too.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Hmm.
now he always, he was the same way as I was. Never noticed any difference or anything like that. And he wore a shirt the other day that I bought for him, and it was a little snug, when he first tried it on, and that was just maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And he had it on yesterday, and it was loose.
That's
And
beautiful.
I was like, well, there you go. So,
And you're
but
not
he
in
always kept,
deprivation,
yeah,
right?
he always kept saying though, he goes, I feel good. I feel
Mhm.
good. So,
Well, we're very proud of you. For both of you now. You got your hubby on it too. It's nice when you do it with your spouse, and then
it,
you have each
it
other
is,
as cheerleaders.
it is, it is. And it was funny. Saturday was our oldest son's birthday, so we went out to Roadhouse, and we just don't eat a big lunch anymore. So, I mean, we had to take the majority of it home.
Good problem, right?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Leftovers
And
are
we're
always
just
good.
like, oh, we're not used to eating this heavy. And Joe's like, we should have drank our balance before this meal instead of dinner. Done both, actually. So,
Well,
but
thank you, Shannon. Your story is very inspiring. Thank you for sharing it all.
oh,
Got me
you're
right
very
here.
welcome.
Thank you.
Vicky, what does your day look like on the
My,
protocol?
my day looks like I get up in the morning and well, I started having a signal, our electrolyte now first. That's my morning drink is to start out with that as a hot drink. And then I switch to my Unimate, have that, have a balance before, if I have lunch, I might not have lunch and I still might have a balance. Okay. Just to get that extra fiber in my body, or if I feel a little bit hungry, but I don't really want to eat. So then I'm have a balance and then it'll just fill me up and tide me over till supper. So before supper, then I'll have another balance. And but I always have that Unimate in the afternoon. And I sometimes do 2 or 3 a day. It just depends on what I feel
Yeah,
like.
me too.
In fact, tonight's is a lemon one, a decaf lemon is what I'm having tonight. So, but I like Shannon, I like that decaf chocolate brownie one. I kind of like it hot at night, just for like an appetizer or a dessert after dinner. It's kind of fun. So,
Yeah, and you can put cream in it. Like
yeah,
that's not gonna spike your blood sugar like
no,
sugar and stuff. So way to
exactly.
go.
Exactly.
Well,
So that's my day with it. So,
thank you. Thank you,
yeah.
Vicky.
Let
John,
me
what's
just
your
tell
day look
one
like?
one real
Oh,
quick thing before
yeah.
we're done here. And when people start on it, it's really important to take pictures, measure. I
Mhm.
just want people to know that because we all hate having our pictures taken and that kind of thing, but you're gonna be glad you did once you start on it because you'll have that as something to look back at later. So that's all.
Right on. And sometimes we end up showing it like we did tonight. We
Right.
don't like doing that, but we get brave, right? And
We do.
it's a story. So I think that.
Yeah.
John, why don't you go ahead? What's your day look like?
Pretty much just like what was discussed, Shannon and Vicky. I'll have a coffee, start the day off with a coffee with you, and then I'll sip my Unimate all morning. But I won't drink it. I won't drink it all at once. I'll just sip it. And just today, I usually I won't have a balance until my evening meal. But some days when I have a starchy or a high carb lunch, I will have a balance with lunch as well. So today I had some white rice with my lunch, and I had a balance before lunch today. But then in the afternoon, sip the Unimate, balance before my evening meal. And again, there's no, last night we enjoyed some ice cream,
Ice cream.
and yeah, I mean, it's not like you're having to give up. And that's what I love about this protocol. It's not a diet, it's not food restrictive. You can eat and enjoy foods, but definitely try to limit things that are ultra processed. And that's a big part of my day is always looking to avoid ultra processed foods.
It, thank you, John, because I found what I have found being on this protocol, it just makes you feel so good. It's easier to make good choices.
That's right.
And
That's
it gets
true.
easier and easier. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight here. And like I said, if you have questions, we'll see them when we finish. But make sure you get with us if you have any questions about this protocol and you're a friend of Vicky's or Shannon, get with them because they have and John or me, we have a discount, a manufacturer lifetime discount that we can share with you from Unicity. And so we can share that with you. That gives you the same discount we get. And they come with a 90-day money back guarantee. I mean, when I heard that, I said, wow, I'm 66. I've never had anybody guarantee anything for me. And this came with the guarantee. So it was really easy for me to try it out. So get with us. We'll answer your questions and don't hold off. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain, and get your metabolic health back in order. So I want to thank you all for being here
Thank you.
tonight. You guys are fantastic. We need to do this more often. And tomorrow night, by the way, get with us. We have a science call tomorrow night that's going to be broadcast with medical professionals talking about insulin resistance on a medical level. So you can ask questions and learn more about this protocol. So make sure to get with us so we can share that link with you. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great night. You're very much here inspiring me. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Monica.
you.
You're welcome.